Welcome to my channel Limelight Leaks. Please share and subscribe and hit the bell icon for new updates. When you first look at Iron Resurrection and Kindig-It Design, they seem totally different. One is way down in Texas, where old rusty cars get fixed up by a close group of people who work hard and stick together. The other one is up in Salt Lake City, Utah, where perfect paint jobs, rich customers, and super careful work make every car perfect. But both shops have something the same. They both love bringing old cars back to life that most people would just throw away. That's where they're alike. That's also where they become totally different. Iron Resurrection is run by Joe Martin and his crew. It feels like a regular garage where you might actually bring your car. The feeling is chill, but everyone cares. A lot. Dust covers the floor. Tools are spread around, but in a messy way that still works. And the cars they build have a real purpose, not just to look fancy. These are the underdog projects. Cars found in old barns, forgotten trucks, rides that mean something special to someone. And when they come back to life, it feels personal. But Kindig-It Design is like a fancy custom car church. Dave Kindig's shop is super clean. Shiny floors, workers in matching clothes, and the best tools money can buy. Every car build is like a polished dream. They often start by drawing the car on a computer, and end with a car that wins shows. These aren't just car builds. They're like making a statement. It's one-of-a-kind custom cars that cost more than most people's houses. Perfect down to every tiny detail. What makes this comparison special isn't fighting. It's about two different ways of thinking, two approaches, two different dreams. One comes from fixing cars with heart and soul. The other comes from having a vision and making it perfect. The shops are just the beginning, but what they each believe in is the real heart of the story we're about to tell. Joe Martin and Dave Kindig might both live in the same world of custom cars, but they come from totally different parts of it. Joe's story starts with motorcycles. Before he was saving rusty trucks on TV, he was building award-winning bikes and painting custom helmets. He's an artist who uses power tools. Quiet, focused, and always working with his hands. Joe doesn't act like he's better than everyone. He shows others what to do by doing it himself. You'll almost never see him yelling on camera or bragging about a car build. Lets his work do the talking. Dave Kindig, on the other hand, built his business with design drawings and a business. Brain sharper than a cutting tool. He taught himself to be an artist with an eye for perfect flow. Dave turned his talent for drawing cars into one of the most respected design shops in the country. He's part creative dreamer and part smart business person. From how he talks to customers to how he explains his builds on camera, Dave controls the room, but never in a mean way. He's polished, professional, and totally obsessed with making things perfect. Where Joe is the craftsman working quietly, Dave is the architect in the spotlight. Joe's car builds come together as he works, often changing things in the middle of the project. Dave's builds are planned out ahead of time. Every detail is drawn. Before the first bolt gets touched, both men have loyal teams working for them. Both are respected by fans, but the way they lead and what they think is most important tells you everything about how their shops work. In this battle of personalities, there's no bad guy, just two masters with totally different tools, attitudes, and ways of working. One is driven by raw art and hard work, the other by polish and perfection. It's the rare kind of difference. That makes fans loyal and creates debates when it comes to actual car builds. The difference between Iron Resurrection and Kindig-It Design becomes even more dramatic. Joe Martin's crew takes on projects that most builders would walk away from. Trucks with smashed frames, cars buried under decades of dirt, and rolling shells with no clear plan. These are real-world challenges. Joe's approach is based on making things work, keep what matters, upgrade what's broken, and give it new life. A little bit of restoration, a little bit of hot rod style, but always realistic. Kindig-It, on the other hand, treats every build like making a sculpture. Dave rarely works with a car the way it is. He reshapes body panels, removes trim pieces, makes custom parts from scratch, and reimagines the car into something totally new. There's no such thing as a small change. From one-off custom grills to special interiors that look like luxury concept cars, Kindig-It's builds are like a masterclass in design precision. You don't just restore a car here, you completely reinvent it. Oh, Joe might keep a classic Chevy. Truck's personality, but add a new engine and disc brakes. Dave might cut into a 60s Corvette and redesign the entire back end for better lines and balance. It's not just a difference in money, it's a difference in thinking. Joe builds for people who want to drive and show off a piece of history. Dave builds for customers who want to own a rolling piece of art. Both ways of thinking are good, and both make incredible results. But one values the story already in the metal. The other values the story that hasn't been written yet. The divide. And that's what makes comparing them so interesting. Step into each shop, and the differences don't stop with the car builds. They go all the way to the crews themselves. At Iron Resurrection, the team feels more like a family than workers. You've got Shag, the deal-making hustler with tons of charm. Amanda, Joe's wife, runs logistics and operations with both precision and patience. Jason and the tech crew bring humor, toughness, and a sense of friendship that gives the show heart. There are inside jokes, real friendships, and a let's-figure-it-out attitude that feels real and not fake. At Kindig-It Design, the culture is tight but professional. It runs like a wheel-oiled machine. Every worker is a specialist. Wheel is a master painter with an eye for perfection. KevDog brings creativity and building brilliance. The wiring, the interiors, the bodywork, each job has a go-to person who's the best at what they do. It's pride in being part of Kindig's elite team, and expectations are sky high. Mistakes aren't just shrugged off. They're studied, fixed, and rarely happen. Again, Joe's shop runs on trust. If something goes wrong, they joke about it, fix it, and move on. At Kindig-It, they try to make sure it doesn't go wrong in the first place. You can see the difference in how the teams work together. Iron Resurrection thrives on relaxed teamwork. Kindig-It thrives on structure and excellence. Neither is better. They're just built for different purposes. This difference in vibe has a huge impact on how each show feels and why fans often pick one side or the other. One is the garage next door. The other is the custom shop you dream of visiting. Hi there. Both crews are the heartbeat of their brand. And that heartbeat sets the tone for everything they create. If there's one area where the difference between Iron Resurrection and Kindig-It Design becomes crystal clear, it's the money. And not just how much the builds cost, but how each shop thinks about their audience, customers, and making money. Joe Martin's builds on Iron Resurrection typically cost between $60,000 to $100,000. Still impressive, but within reach for serious car lovers. It's part of what makes the show so relatable. Joe's not building for billionaires. It's building for people who scraped and saved money to finally bring their high school dream car back to life. Kindig-It Design? Whole different universe. Entry-level builds can start around $250,000, and custom projects often go beyond the $500,000 mark. These aren't cars you park at the grocery store. These are cars that go from enclosed trailers to show pedestals. Flawless from every angle. Often with custom everything, Dave Kindig's shop isn't just building for car lovers. He's building for CEOs, collectors, and legacy customers looking to put their name on something no one else will ever own. This difference filters into their business strategies. Joe relies on the show and steady customer flow to keep the lights on. There's hustle behind every deal Shag locks down. Each build feels like a hard-earned win. Dave, however, has developed a brand that feeds itself. Global following, booming merchandise sales, licensing deals, and ultra-high-end customers willing to wait years for a build. One shop works from the heart, the other from a blueprint, and both work brilliantly in their own lanes. In the end, the question isn't who makes more money, it's who makes it matter. And depending on whether you dream of restoring Grandpa's old truck or creating a rolling art piece, the answer is going to be totally different. Take a step outside the garage and into the customer meetings, and you'll see two completely different worlds unfold. At Iron Resurrection, many of the customers show up with rust buckets and a story. A first car wrecked decades ago. Classic pickup that belonged to a father or grandfather. These aren't just builds, they're emotional restorations. Joe and the team know they're not just working on metal, they're bringing back memories. The customer experience is informal, heartfelt, and deeply personal. You'll see hugs before contracts and tears when keys are handed over. At Kindig-It Design, the experience feels more like ordering a luxury yacht. Customers arrive to a polished showroom with drawings on giant screens, detailed meetings, and careful project breakdowns. Every part is planned. Every request is written down. It's high-end service meets cutting-edge design. The customer doesn't just get a car. They get an experience from sketch to reveal, complete with updates, fittings, and final walkthroughs. It's a concierge-level build process, but here's the key. Both experiences are meaningful, just in different ways. Iron Resurrection makes the everyday car lover feel seen, respected, and part of something special. Kindig-It gives its customers the thrill of creation without the grease. One is about raw feelings. The other is about refined service. Both leave customers walking away with something unforgettable. Not just a machine, but a moment in time rebuilt by the best in the business. The differences in how Iron Resurrection and Bitchin' Rides are filmed mirror the very DNA of the shops themselves. Iron Resurrection is raw, stripped down, and often feels like you're just hanging out with the crew in the middle of a real workday. There are laughs, mistakes, and unscripted moments that give the show its charm. It doesn't try to be flashy. It tries to be real. That authenticity, grit, noise, sweat is what fans love. You see the process, the improvisation, the human side of every build. Bitchin' Rides, on the other hand, is all about polish. The camera work is top tier. Its builds are revealed with dramatic lighting and camera moves that feel like product commercials. Every scene is clean, composed, and stylish. Even the shop floor is spotless. Story is tightly edited, focusing on each stage of the build like a documentary about precision. The visual tone perfectly matches the brand, refined, deliberate, and done with designer-level attention. It's not that one show is better, it's that they serve different purposes. Iron Resurrection brings the viewer into the garage and says, "Here's how we really do it." Bitchin' Rides invites you to sit front row at a high-end design studio and watch a vision come to life. The way they're filmed affects how you feel about the builds, the crews, and even the cars themselves. Ultimately, that's the power of great storytelling. Two shows, two styles, but both prove that whether you prefer grease under the fingernails or a showroom shine, there's room in the custom car world for every kind of story. If you really want to understand the soul of a show, look at its fans. Iron Resurrection and Kindig-It Design attract two different tribes, and the difference says everything about the heart of each shop. Joe Martin's fanbase is blue-collar, hands-on, and fiercely loyal. They're the weekend wrenchers, the barn-find dreamers, the guys who've kept their first project car sitting in the garage for 20 years because one day they'll get to it. These fans see themselves in the builds. Every weld, every rust patch, every creative fix speaks their language. And Joe, he never talks down to them. He builds for them. Then there's Dave Kindig's audience. More upscale, more design savvy, more collector-driven. They appreciate craftsmanship on a luxury level. They're not as interested in the origin story of a beat-up El Camino as they are in the smooth lines of a handmade custom build. These fans want to see perfection. They want elegance, finish, and the kind of detail you don't get from a backyard, garage, and Dave delivers. Both communities are passionate, but in different ways. Iron Resurrection fans often engage directly, commenting on social posts, tagging friends in barn finds, and feeling like they're part of the journey. Kindig fans, they admire from a distance, sharing images of finished builds, buying merchandise, attending high-end car shows. One group is greasy, the other is sharply dressed. There's one thing they share, a love for the machine. Whether it's a rusty Impala or a $500,000 custom coupe, both fan bases understand what these cars represent. Freedom, legacy, art. That's what unites them. No matter which shop they support, no shop escapes criticism, and even the best car shows have their rough roads. For Iron Resurrection, some fans have pointed out long production gaps, with rumors swirling about budget problems or cast changes. The show's more casual structure means delays can spark concern. Is the shop okay? Joe and the crew still together? Thankfully, they've remained tight-knit. But it's proof that when your brand is built on being real, fans pay attention to every move. Kindig-It Design, by contrast, faces a different kind of scrutiny. The criticism here is about style. Some fans say the cars are too clean, too overbuilt, or lacking the gritty soul of traditional muscle car restorations. There's also a feeling among some hardcore gearheads that Kindig's show is more about style than substance. It's more corporate showroom than garage. But the reality is, that's Kindig's lane, and he owns it without apology. Neither shop has faced major scandal, which says a lot in the reality TV world. No criminal charges, no lawsuits blowing up in tabloids, just good old-fashioned shop talk and the occasional social media drama. When you've got two powerhouse brands building very different visions of perfection, there's bound to be friction. Still, that contrast is part of the appeal. Joe builds with soul, Dave builds with polish. Both shops invite opinions, and debate fuels the fan base. In fact, the rivalry isn't just accepted, it's embraced. When the dust settles and the clear coat shines, we're left with a big question. Who builds it better? The answer? It depends on what you value in a build and in a story. If you're a blue jeans, lunchbox, backyard kind of car fan who loves seeing something rise from the grave, Iron Resurrection speaks to your soul. Joe Martin doesn't just build cars, he brings them back to life. He saves family legacies, fixes what everyone else forgot, and makes each ride feel like a second chance at life. The vibe is grassroots, and the payoff is emotional. It's not about flash, it's not about heart. But if you lean toward the extraordinary, where every curve is engineered and every part flows like art, Kindig-It Design is your world. Dave Kindig doesn't just build cars, he creates masterpieces. These aren't daily drivers, they're rolling sculptures. The kind of rides that steal spotlights, win awards, and never look back. For fans of form, detail, and luxury, Kindig is king. There's no wrong choice, just two different kinds of greatness. One is built in a gritty Texas shop with weld burns and laughter. The other is shaped in a spotless Utah studio with design sketches and CNC machines. One is raw, the other refined, but both are real. So, who wins? Maybe we all do, because whether you're into barn finds or billet parts, both Joe Martin and Dave Kindig are pushing the custom car world forward. And thanks to them, gearheads everywhere have more than just cars to admire, have stories to believe in, places to believe in.